Sports. He is the blue Protoss player from France, one of France's many talented Protoss. It's DnS.
Actually, I haven't checked, Grant. I'm a little curious. I want to see how the brackets look right now. If you recall, after day 2 or 3, I think, of DreamHack EU, the French players were like completely dominating.
Top of every group.
Everything. Marine Lord DnS, Denver Shutdown, Clem, and who am I forgetting? Drogo and Stefano. Yeah, they were all doing so well, and now it looks like the worm has turned a little bit, but not that much, Grant. Denver and Clem guaranteed in their top 2 spots. Stefano still fighting for a position in the top 2 spots, and Drogo not technically eliminated there from Group D, so France is putting on a great showing. Second to none, I think, in this tournament so far. France has very clearly some of the best results, followed by maybe Germany, but it's going to depend on how Lambo and Hero Marine do.
Yeah, France have always been one of those great StarCraft regions, thanks to I imagine, the infrastructure created by Nation Wars and things like that. They've also got an incredible team at OGTV. Oh, I saw that, DnS, for workers and gas, Grant's biggest pet peeve. For now, though, everything in this game very normal. Cyber after Nexus, before Nexus even, sorry, Adept going to be chronoed out. Is there a Reaper here from Cass? Yep, no Marine opening here. Cass playing both these players. Playing very standard StarCraft 2 right now.
Now, Grant, I don't want to chastise you on stream too much, but can I share with you what my pet peeve is?
Yeah.
It's when people misuse the phrase pet peeve. Previously, you said it's my biggest pet peeve. You don't need to say biggest there. When you say pet peeve, that means it's your largest peeve, your most severe peeve, your number one peeve. That's what the word pet means in that phrase. So you don't have to say biggest pet peeve. You just have to say pet peeve, because that already shows that it is your largest peeve, the peeve that you are most peeved by. And that is my pet peeve.
Mine is this Reaper going down. It's very early to lose it. Didn't get any kills there. Didn't get too much information. I think it saw the Stargate, right? Yes, you can see the Stargate, so it's nice. You saw the bare minimum, but you do want to keep it alive for a dive in a little bit later to see the follow-up tech. Or even with the Stargate, you can see what is being... that was too close for my liking. You can even see what is being made in that Stargate. And Phoenix from DnS is looking to maybe drop that Robo and Robo Bay for some Phoenix Colossus play. We'll have to see. I like a bit of Phoenix here, something a little bit different here from the Frenchman. Cash right now just getting all this stuff rocking and rolling. Oh, this is nice as well. The bunker is up, of course, but work is not being able to work. And my biggest pet peeve is creating also.
Come on, Grant. Come on. I just taught you how this works. I
know. That's why I did it.
I understand. So yeah, as you said, a couple different options for follow-up for DnS here. And it looks like he hasn't really committed to one yet. That extra gateway is, I think, just for protection. You usually want about 2 gates out just to be safe. But as the Phoenix continue to chrono out, Grant, there are basically, as I understand it, 2 major paths that the Protoss player can take. You can either go for like a mass Phoenix build. And sometimes the Robo's still indicative that it is just mass Phoenix. Crank out a ton of Phoenix, get a second Stargate eventually, get that anion pulse crystals, and just wreck the map with graviton beams everywhere, harass the crap out of mineral lines, pick up tanks, and just destroy. Combine the Phoenix with the Gateway Army in the mid or late game, and you're in good shape. The second, and I think probably more likely option now, as we see all 4 gases saturated up and that Robo coming down, is that DnS has been watching a bit of that NA StarCraft, been picking up some tips from Nina and from Estrella and from Neeb, and might be looking at a Phoenix Colossus build, which can be devastatingly good against Terran players.
Yeah, Phoenix Colossus is my personal favorite build. You don't see it like consistently. It's not the build that everyone is doing, but Phoenix is able to pick up tanks and take down medevacs, whilst Colossus just laser through the ground units. A lot of Marauders can be very good against this. We're not seeing that transition with none in production just yet here. Robotics Bay has gone down, sort of confirming what we expected here. Robo's going to make some observers for now and get some vision. We already have Viking production beginning from Cast, which will be important. Vikings, Ghosts, all very good at dealing with this. Phoenix is pretty useless if they have no energy, and Colossus pretty useless if they're dead.
Hey, you know, that's a good that's a pretty good outlook for everything, right? Absolutely. So Barrick's coming down from Cass, and he's committing to Bio here, which I don't know if I like the call. Obviously, Bio much stronger than Mech generally, but if you do know you're going to go into Phoenix Colossus, adding on a couple more Cyclones or even a second factory before you go into 3 Barracks can be a really effective build, especially if you got that third base coming down pretty quickly and you're able to secure the gases for it fairly easily. So a little surprising to see DNS maybe just going straight for Bio play. I think it's more common build, and he's going to go for an early game push to try and break DNS early, but if this push doesn't work, Grant, I'm a little bit concerned. Cass is going to lose a lot in this push, and you can't afford to lose a lot of Bio if you're up against Colossus.
No, but to be fair, there are no Colossus out yet. This push is going to hit at a time where DNS needs to be worried. You can see him immediately throwing down like a lot of bunkers. Not bunkers, sorry, shield batteries to try and ensure that he doesn't get wrecked by this foreign production. This first Colossus does ease up the pain, but actually Cass isn't committing. I'm surprised. I feel like if you move out like this, you should at least commit to having a look. You never have to take the fight, but you can go and force out more units and stop the Protoss player from hard macroing. Cass, though, he did secure his third base. He's getting all his upgrades and a bunch of racks, bunch of missile turrets. He's not, doing anything massively wrong. I just think he maybe should have considered going a little bit closer to the Protoss before pissing off and going home.
At the very worst, he forced out those 5 shield batteries, or 4 shield batteries. One was canceled here by DNS as soon as the attack. Actually, 3 of them were canceled, which isn't too bad there from DNS. I thought he got all of them down, but only 2 of them finished there at the third base. Still a bit of a force out from Cass, so a little bit of I don't know, action from that move out, but I agree with you completely. Should have at least had a cheeky peek there in the third, confirmed all the locations and everything. We're gonna see if that pays off for him later. 5th Barracks finished up here for Cass, and he's only just now getting that Ghost Academy. How many ghosts is the right number of ghosts, Grant?
I think in this scenario, just 4 or 5 maybe, and get enhanced shockwaves. It really depends on what the Protoss moves into. Of course, as they increase their tech, if they go into high temperatures and things, you want a few extra ghosts. Snipes are never bad against units that are slow moving or units that are out of position, and EMPs. Basically, you want to EMP the Phoenix and EMP the Zealots. They are the major targets. Anything else is just gravy here. So we see Cass producing a couple at a time. I can't foresee him going up to like 10 plus. It would be certainly unusual. He wants to have more Marines just for that DPS alongside. Because once you hit the EMPs, you still have to kill the bloody things, right? And Marine's the best at that. Cass doing a great job of his macro here. You can see both of them spending their money very well, getting upgrades. We have everything coming along that you'd expect. Prism, Gravity Drive coming in. Forge, second Forge on the way here for our Protoss. It is the second one, yeah, of course.
Yep.
This push out here from DNS is a little scary. Phoenix number right now is only 3 though, because the Vikings did catch a couple early. Vikings will need to be replaced here because Colossus are deadly if they're not taken down quickly. And High Templars on the way. Ghost count currently at just 2. No more in the production tab as Marauders come in. Shockwave starting for our Terran player. And we're sort of in the lull right now, but things in the next couple of minutes I think will start to get a little bit crazy.
Yeah, calm before the storm, I think, is a good way to think about this right now. Both these players sort of getting their projection ready. As their trajectory heads to 200 supply, then they're going to start looking at taking a bit of a fight. Right now, just shaving off little bits and bobs, trying to get scouting information to rebalance the army, and then we'll know what's going on. Obviously, both these guys trying to set up for a good initial first fight, but Grant, this is one of those games that looks like, as we said before, since both these players are more macro-style players, longer game styles, it looks like this game may actually not come down to the first initial fight, since both of them are macroing so hard and they probably will be building up a bit of a bank. What it might come down to is the rebalances after that first fight. Does DNS go mass charge lot afterwards? Are the Vikings useless? Or is there a fleet beacon down? Do Dark Templars catch Cass by surprise? Like, whatever happens in the second wave of attacks, I think might actually determine this game a little bit more than this first fight.
Yeah, both players have certainly played very passive so far. One thing I will say is Cass has done a great job of catching the Phoenix. He has now taken that number down to 2. You're not really playing Phoenix Colossus if you just have 2 Phoenix anymore. You can't do so much to lift the tanks and things like that. And I do like the way Cass is building his army here. His army is very strong. In terms of army value, you can see they're pretty even with Cass having a slight lead. Cass also closer to being maxed, but he hasn't started 2-2 yet. Does he even have an armory? He must, right? Yeah, he does. But he needs to start 2-2 like 2 minutes ago. Because the longer this goes, you can see +2 is already almost finished for DnS. The big mistake right now by Cass, who has so much money right now and is just not starting these upgrades. There we go.
Oh, finally, he's clearly listening 2 minutes into the future, Grant, and deciding exactly what he needs from you. Very wise choices there by Cass. Interestingly, here we are seeing Cloak on those ghosts, and Grant, usually you don't get Cloak on your ghosts unless you're planning for a little nuki action later in the game. Yeah. So I don't want to be too crass for the B stream here, but Cass might be on the hunt for some nuki later.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. That would be very cool. He's adding on now all of the stuff you expect from a late game Terran, but we do have some action going down right now at the front here. Disruptors firing off their purification builds. The planetary will stand, and as Liberators join, it becomes very difficult for the Disruptors to move far enough forward to get some damage done here. Cass doing a good job defending, losing a little supply, but he is now moving into advanced ballistic. He's decided to, he's producing 4 Liberators at a time, which is insane. Already up at that double starport, which you like to see here. He's expanding a lot. He wants to add a lot of orbitals so he can trade out workers eventually. I mean, this isn't going to work out here. We have these adepts. I actually think he's going to let this complete. Yeah, this is nice. Going to get some shaded adepts in here, kill a few workers. Another run by coming from the south, as there is a bunker here that isn't currently full. A lot of workers going down. Cass, you need to like, I mean, in the UK we say shit or get off the pot. You need to do something. That's not something, Cass. Don't lose all of your ghosts. And he does. This is just all of a sudden falling apart from Cass. In one moment, he loses 13 workers, a load of his ghosts, now down to just 1. And ouch.
I'm gonna counter you, Grant. I'm gonna say the ghost losses are bad, but the worker losses are just fine. He's looking to max out, looking to get rid of some of those workers anyway, as he starts to bump up against 200 supply. 65 is still a decent number of workers for a Terran this late in the game. So while that is a good run by from DnS, I think Cass is just gonna have to take that one on the chin and come back a little bit more quickly. The bad news, the really bad news, is that he's not prepped for this transition at all. The Viking count, as you said, only at 8. The Liberator count at 6. It seems all right if you're up against this Gateway army, but once the Tempests are out, Grant, there's just not much that Cass is going to be able to do about it. I'm a little bit concerned right now for his long-term health. As you saw, the Ghost numbers going down, the Liberators getting added on, but Liberators are terrible, absolutely terrible against those Tempest boys.
Yeah, well, the Tempest are nice. DnS certainly knows what he needs to do tech-wise to deal with this. And with advanced ballistics coming out, I am concerned Cass has made too many here. Ugh, these purification novas have been really scary. That one, not great here. We can see advanced ballistics very close to finishing up here, 15 seconds. Upgrades for Cass, so guess what? 3-3 hasn't started. +2 vehicle ship weapons has not started. Cass is very much fallen behind on upgrades now because +3 ground weapons already finished here for DnS. He's starting to move into +3 shields and... +1 shields and +3 armor. Nukes are on the way, Creighton.
Yes. Now, I'll clarify your statement. A nuke is on the way. Yeah. There's only that one Ghost Academy right now, which is a bit unorthodox. Usually, if you're going for nukes, you want 3 or 4 of them so you can split out the DPS a little bit, keep your opponent guessing. If 2 or 3 nukes happen at the same time, it can be much more difficult to figure out where the nukes are landing to get those pulls off. I think DnS is going to be fine. He's got some photon cannons at most of his bases here. The only one that's really dangerous is this 4th base here that doesn't have a photon cannon. Might be nukeable, but again, a player like DnS, I don't expect those nukes to hit, but I guess, Grant, you never really expect the nukes to hit, do you?
No, that EMP nice. It takes down all of the shields on some of these air units. Most of them on the Archons, of course, in EMP. Not enough to take down an Archon entirety. But these Tempests are doing a great job. DnS is micro on point here. Microing back and forth, making sure nothing massive goes on or goes wrong here. And these Liberators with advanced ballistic siege up so quick, of so much damage. Nuke down on the south side will be going down soon. Creighton missing it there. I saw that. This nuke is going to...
It's gone. Gone already. Photon cannon. Yep. Photon cannon and DNS's observer there. Able to see it. The real problem right now, though, is that Cass has wedged himself in between these 2 armies. And look at this. The Liberators and Vikings really zoning out the major ground army here, allowing Cass to get some good damage done on the 4th here, Grant. Lots of damage here for our Terran player.
Yeah, this is nice. This is what he needs. Some big EMPs as well, but the Viking count is too low. He is producing 4 at a time and 2 more ghosts. I'd like to see more Vikings. Even this, probably another starport's worth of Vikings, to be honest, as there is only 2 at this point. And starports are going to be where Cass is going to end up with most of his units now, because Our Protoss player is mainly producing in the sky. +2 air weapons here for DNS, as well as +3 armor, about to finish off. Getting another Nexus as well, a very forward Nexus here from DNS, who start to feel a little bit confident. He did make a mistake by standing too far to the east and getting trapped off here with the zoning potential of these Liberators. But Cass needs a little bit more production. You can see his money's great, but his production really isn't right now. Sure, he's maxed, but he needs to be able to remax very, very quickly, because these fights, no matter what happens, will be explosive. One thing I will say, DNS does not have Storm. I find that kind of surprising. I guess he doesn't feel confident in the Ghost versus High Templar game. Because Storm against his army, especially against his air army, can you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. As you said, a little surprising he doesn't have it here. Just counting on Disruptor balls to get some good shots, and there's one immediately. Disruptor's, again, one of the swingiest units in the game here. Giant changes, and remember, Marines and Marauders have made the terrible, terrible choice not to grow up to be Stalkers, which means they're not able to blink out of those Disruptor balls. With the Liberators trying to chase down these Tempests, the Disruptors are not going to be forced back. Liberators can kill off a Disruptor in, I think, 2 or 3 shots, so it's pretty quick to dismantle them, and that does just mean that those Disruptors are going to be a lot more efficient. I think that one Disruptor shot saved DNS's bacon there for a little bit, bought him a lot of time, and Cass unable to really close the door on that attack, allowing DNS now to move in with these cheeky DTs in the bottom corner here. Detection is here, but they've got Blink, and this is not a Planetary Fortress, Grant.
There is a Liberator in the air that is going to help, but these DTs instead it's going to start targeting down the detection soon. One thing I will say is that there are 6 orbital scans at this point are almost, there's almost unlimited. So these DTs they're going to be nice to control the army from side to side a little bit, but they are possible to be dealt with. This is where things get very scary for the Terran, because our Protoss player is starting mass factories in a very forward position, meaning whenever he fights, not that far away from fully recharging against the Ghost or against the Marine fire here. And Cass still hasn't started 3-3. At this point, this is the biggest mistake he could have made. This is nice. His DC is going to blink in and get a whole bunch of damage. Take down everything down here in the natural. Maybe get him from the production in the main. Take down a load of the add-ons would be huge. As we catch that nuke being fired down to the south side. It is on the static D here, which a lot of it will get blown up. But again, this isn't by any means a big deal. The whole army being pulled back is absolutely getting chomped down here by DNS's DTs. They're going to be recalled. He's actually going to save a few of them here. Snipes going in on the flip side. One over here. Hiding will die. But this was a lot of damage. Cass's bank gone.
Yeah, remember earlier you were saying, oh, he's got a good bank but not great production, and now he's got the exact opposite problem. No bank and decent production. He hasn't added on any more. He's added on 1 more starport. That's not enough, Grant. He needs 2 or 3 more starports to really crank out the Vikings and Liberators that he wants. If he's trying to properly transition into Sky Terran from here, he's gonna have a really bad time of it. Nice EMP on those shield batteries, by the way. Really clutch move. That can be super important. As you said, those forward shield batteries, so difficult to deal with, but EMPing them down removes all their energy and just makes them completely useless hunks of junk. The Tempest going to try and get some shots off here, but the Vikings bopping forward to try and get onto the Tempest and the Colossi. Yeah. The Colossi taking some of those shots. Really nice movements here by DNS to soak up some of those Viking shots from the Colossi. Very, very nicely done. The
Archon got a couple of big swings there, which, if not killed, did a huge amount of damage to so many of the air units. Cass's air army is really not as strong as it should be. 10 Vikings is okay. He now has 15 Ghosts though, which is crazy. I would like to have seen a second Ghost Academy, because I think at this point in the game, mass nukes is the way to go. He hasn't got many. He's going to drop one down here at the 3 o'clock. Creighton catches. Well done, Creighton. Producing more and more Ghosts. The late game army coming in. DNS, this is not a fight you want to take. You cannot fight right now. He's in a great position, a forward position, but he is at risk of being cautious and cut off here. Some nice nuclear missile there, taking down a lot of the buildings and also stopping them from producing, unpowering them for now. But Cass has used this option to swing down to the south here. This is a base that is mining, so the MP is going to go down here on the batteries, and this base and all of its production will be taken out. DNS are going to counter at the north side and take out base of his own. This one, way more workers on it.
Yeah, I agree. This base from DNS has been out for a lot longer. This was DNS's third base of the day, remember, so it's almost mined out. Obviously, losing the 7 probes, not ideal, but still could have been much worse here. One more nuke coming down for DNS, or for Cass, rather, into DNS's main line here. Oh, DNS does not see this one here. He's working real hard on this planetary fortress at the top, but this nuke about to land, and Protoss players, look away!
Too late! 34 probes decimated by the nuclear missile here. That is DNS's economy gone. And unlike Cass, he does not have the benefit of having 5 orbitals to drop mules. He's going to lose another base here. Cass, in just one small moment, has swung this game. We have a kind of weird base race going on right now, but DNS is not meeting it. Instead, all his production is in this position. He's going to lose all of these Tempests. He's going to lose so many Stargates even. He's going to lose his rover that's producing disruptors here. This isn't good. All of these will have to be remade. Because DNS, he's got a lot of money, but you can't spend it without production. He realizes that he's going to take the fight. This is, I mean, is Cass trapped in DNS's main or is DNS trapped out? It's kind of hard to know. Both of these players right now with big armies. EMPs are great, but I think right now DNS has got Cass trapped.
Yeah, really interesting choice from DNS. I was going to question earlier, the recall that he made was not to his main base, not to his natural, which is what I might have expected, right? You want to stop the incurring army from getting into your main. He was actually recalled to that 3 o'clock base instead, which allowed him to set up for this really nice flank. So it looks like DNS is actually going to come out the winner here in what I would have thought was a big mistake with the recall to his 3 o'clock, but coming back with the transition, and of course Cass has made the mistake of not playing Protoss, unable to recall out of there, and he's going to get cleaned up there. A very clean win by our boy DNS, that last ghost getting uncloaked, and despite that beautiful nuke we saw earlier, look at the worker count, Grant, still 25 to 19, so even though DNS has been trounced pretty effectively back home, Cass not doing great either.
No, Cass does have the benefit of a lot of mules. If you look at the income tab right now, he's producing over twice his opponent, despite having way less workers, because he can mule up. But the base is the map is going to get to a point in not too long where it is starting to mine out, and the bases that you need to mine from are very, very difficult to take. The problem right now, I mean, look at the supply. DNS has not only double, he has 100 more. There's nothing in the air for Cass right now. Cass has 1 Liberator, 1 Viking. There's 12 Tempests, Creighton. I can tell you who wins that fight. No matter how many ghosts you have, unless you can hit the biggest nuke of your career,
yeah,
you just don't win. The air is completely held by DNS. GG is called. Map 1 goes to DNS, but that's just map 1.
That map lasting longer than all the rest of our series today combined, Grant. A 23-minute game here between Cass and DNS, but we called at the beginning. We said these are players who like the long game. They like the mid game. They like the late game, getting up to those big armies, juggling their tech, rejiggering what their army composition is to match their opponent. Both of these guys thrive on the chess match that happens in TVP as you get to the late game. How many ghosts do I need? How many Vikings do I need? If any of those numbers, any of those balls that you're juggling don't quite add up, bam, you just die, and we saw that from Cass. Again, not getting enough Vikings to really clear the air, and those Tempests just overwhelming him, I think. If we broke down the entire game and reduced it to just one variable, I think that would probably be it.
Yeah, I agree. Cass made great moves with the nukes, but he never really got his production going to the point where he could rematch quite like his opponent. And then he got himself caught behind enemy lines, surrounded by those Tempests that just gunned his army down. And unfortunately for him, he'd already lost his bank in a couple of not great fights. Cass made some good moves, but wasn't able to make the best moves. Not able to make great moves and really take very, very cost-efficient fights. They're kind of even. And DNS was able to keep all his capital ships alive and close it out.
Yeah, just efficiency trading. I don't think I showed people the efficiency graph, but I'm sure if we'd looked at the end there, our Protoss player would have looked really sharp there. Obviously, shields coming back. Shield batteries doing a lot there. The shield mechanic for the Protoss player, allowing them to trade more efficiently just by its very nature. And that's how Protoss works in general. But DNS playing very well there. That forward base, by the way, the inside 3 o'clock base, Grant, just absolutely giving him a huge forward position. Yeah. And even with some good EMPs from Cass, it's just too much to overcome. Our second map, Grant, is going to be a slightly shorter game, I suspect. Submarine is going to be our second map, the smallest map in the map pool, and one of the ones that certainly encourages strong aggression on both sides. Yeah. Is it likely that either of these macro players are going to change up their strategy and go for a strong early game timing push?
I feel like DNS might get Submarine as an incredible map for passing 4-gate blink style. The main is huge. There are cliffs all the way around that are very easily accessible. But again, I do look at these guys and I think macro, macro, macro. Even on Submarine, it could happen. There's a lot less bases, so even if it is a long macro game, I don't expect 25 minutes. But I mean, we're loading into Submarine now. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't have the answers. I am afraid. I wish I did. Creighton, why don't you introduce the first player? I believe in you.
I would love to. Spawning in the bottom right-hand side of Submarine LE. It's our blue Terran player representing Starcom Gaming and Ukraine. It is Cass.
And his opponent in the top left is Submarine, representing Cascade Esports. He is the red Pro Tour player from France. It's DnS.
No Forge first, Grant. I gotta fess up. I'm a little disappointed.
No chance. I don't think I've ever seen DnS Gunham Rush.
Never, really.
I can't think of one time. I've
Come
known him a while.
Come on,
He's probably
Bouet.
done it like on ladder, but I don't think he's ever done it in a tournament. I could be wrong. He could have gone for a phase, but my memory is not good on the best of days. But yeah, no chance.
Yeah, definitely not. Nice scout from the probe here is going to get all the way in, and we'll see what's going on. Obviously, no sneaky play or anything like that. But the probe will get in, sees that barracks coming down. I imagine this is just going to be a Reaper expand from Cass. Possibly gets the Marine out first, but Reaper much more likely with the style that he's been playing. Likes to get out, likes to get that information, and wants to be safe when he's expanding.
Ooh, these SUVs looking for trouble. A little bit of a scrap here. DnS not able to get the block for too long. But one of the SUVs very weak. Now this probe will have to go home. It's too weak to continue. It's nonsense. Nexus down after cybernetic score for DnS. Everything very normal so far. But who knows, man? Submarine, crazy map. I will say good for Widowman drops. A lot of space behind the mineral line in the main, which is good for oracles. Trying to think. I just can't think what either player would do.
You know, and that's what makes it so tough, is not just do we have the variable of two players who are very comfortable playing in the mid and late game, but we also have that variable, that elephant in the room, this tiny map, Submarine, and we simply don't know what the players are expecting. It's so weird to see two macro players on such a small map, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know that I've ever cast either of these players on this map before, Grant.
No,
I've probably cast
several
dozen DnS games, maybe 50 games with Cass, and I still have never seen them on Submarine just because the map doesn't come up that often. So
no,
as the natural finishes up for DnS, let me try that again. As the natural finishes up for DnS, we are going to finally see his tier 2 tech coming down. Twilight Council, how does Blink Stalker feel to you, Grant, here on Submarine?
Yeah, I like Blink Stalker here on Submarine. There are a lot of cliffs, a lot of high ground, especially if you look around the main. You can see there are a lot of areas you can blink in if you have a high ground vision. I do very much expect Blink here from DnS. I don't think DnS is the kind of player to throw matchbacks and go Glaives. It's not going to happen. Robo coming in as well. He may go DT. That wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world to me. But I do expect it is going to be Blink. Nothing started just yet here. But a Widowmine drop being queued up here from Cass. Catches a couple of units in a worker. This first adapt doing its job, I suppose. And here comes that first drop loading up for Cass very shortly.
Yeah, looking very scary. Obviously, Widowmine drops still a terrifying way to live your life. They can do so much damage, and obviously if you're expecting a starport opener, which it looks like Cass is right now because he still has not scouted that tier 2 tech, you actually move in and put these Widowmines behind the refineries. That could be so tricky to see. Just the actual image for the refinery, that art for the refinery, blocking the lines that show when that Widowmine's going to hit you. So visually a little bit distracting. Nice play from Cass here, but obviously going to move that, unburrow it, and put it into the drop here. Double Widowmine popping across the map now from Cass. We got to see how DNS's micro is.
Yeah, this is pretty difficult to deal with. Of course, Blink only halfway done. In terms of units here for DNS, we can see that he has a couple of Stalkers, but only 2, which is really not that many, actually. This has potential. Oh my god, the Stalkers have just been pulled so far out of position as well by this heli. And where is the dropship right now? Coming into the natural, this is going to need to be a pull. It's going to need to be a bloody quick one. As the boosters come in, yeah, that's okay. This is a nice pull to start with, but he's going to go straight into the main here. No pull just yet. DNS, wow, the Widowmine's actually, oh, that's a shame. They got messed up there by the shield battery, annoying the pathing. It will be picked up and cleaned up pretty easy, but a lot of lost mining time, right?
Yeah, a lot of lost mining time here, but honestly about the best that DNS can hope for with those stalkers so far out of position. So really, only one probe going down, that is about best case scenario for a double Widow Mine drop. And of course, you know, probably about the best Cass could ask for as well, with no drilling claws, with no cloak, with no additional damage for those Widow Mines. You said it earlier in the day, Grant, but players are just getting better at the dang game, and these single-pronged harasses, no matter what they are, single Liberator, one Widow Mine, or one Medevac with some Widow Mines in it, even a Raven Auto-Turret harass these days, just a lot less scary, because the players are just better at StarCraft, Grant.
Yeah, definitely. DNS with a great job on that defense. Up 47 to 43 workers and continuing to grow here, adding on his forge and things. His upgrades, of course, are going to be a little later, but he has, it's the second forge, cool. That's quick, feeling very safe here. He has the power of Chrono.
Yeah.
To power that forward, adding on his second Twilight upgrade, which is Blink, which is charge after Blink even. This Stalker is going to be annoying here with Blink. This is an annoying part of Submarine. The second Reaper Cliff means that you can come here and just mess up the gas mining workers. Loses one Stalker, a little sloppy for DNS. Kills a couple of workers though, very nice. Little string of aggression. Fair TC on the way from Cast at a pretty decent time here after a second rack. Not the quickest by any means. 5 more gateways to DNS. He's looking to power up on 3 bases and try and make something happen. We actually have a proper standard macro game in Submarine.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't know that I've ever heard the phrase, we're going to have a standard macro game on Submarine before, Grant. I'm glad I'm not playing the DreamHack EU drinking game. Otherwise, I'd be doing a shot of absinthe right now, because DNS is French, and so you got to do the worst drink from each nation. I don't know what the worst drink in Ukraine is, but there's no way it's worse than absinthe, right?
It's everything.
Everything is the worst drink in Ukraine, that's fair. These Stalkers doing their job, though, slowing down this push just a little bit. Again, DNS being a bit sloppy with him here, but the Marine drop in the natural is really causing a lot of consternation here. While DNS was microing outside, Koss was studying the blade. It's a good pickoff there, but he's going to keep his pressure on. I don't know, Grant, this feels like an overextension from Koss now with that super battery there.
Yeah, killing 8 workers is nice from Counts here, but he doesn't want to lose the Medevacs mainly. He's going to save a lot of his units. I'm not massively against it. Army supply is a little bit down, but he's even up the worker count. And of course, mules mean he is going to be mining more efficiently in the next couple of minutes. So I like it. Behind this, he's getting all his upgrades. As long as he starts 2-2 on time, +1 shields even just starting up here. And he has a few Widow Mines dotted about. Shouldn't be in too much consternation himself. There is a Prism down at the south side warping in some Zealots to drop the main. And Cass doesn't have any units in the main right now. Needs to be aware of this coming in pretty soon, but his reinforcement's not too far away.
Yeah, I mean, the bad news for Cass is that he's got a lot of Marauders out right now. 7 Marauders and only 4 Marines, which means this drop is not going to be able to get gunned down unless these missile turrets are allowed to finish beforehand. So, nice timing there from Cass to get those Widow Mines down, or those missile turrets down, rather. But DNS still pressuring at the front, drawing that army out. And it looks like DNS is actually going to get hoisted by his own petard here, trying to take his time and draw the army out. And he's like, once the army's drawn out, I'll drop these Zealots back in. But of course, by the time those Zealots are dropped back in, these missile turrets will have finished up. So, looks like Cass is going to be able to defend for now, and he's going to maintain that decent position in this game. If we look at the income, we will see it's slightly in favor of DNS in the last couple minutes. Obviously, his third base down a little bit earlier, and his probe count rather higher than the SCV count. And this nice Zealot run by able to shore up that lead just a little bit more. So I think even though Cass had a strong position a few minutes ago economically, DNS is starting to pull ahead as that third base was finished up slightly earlier, and he's even going into Colossus now, Grant, giving him more military options on the field.
Yeah, definitely. I like going into Colossus at this stage. Lots of Zealots continue to be warped in as well. Cass going for a full Widow Mine drop. We've been seeing Terrans do this a lot. And we said earlier how Widow Mine drops have kind of been dealt with. Tyrant Protoss players are so used to them. But what we're seeing Terran players do now is drop them throughout the game almost consistently instead of 8 Marine drops. Because if they can get the right hits and you have an armory and things like that, which Cass has, they're so hard to deal with and they're really not that much more expensive. So this drop is going to come in. No no cannons here. There is no tunneling claws, so they still take a while to burrow. But now this base can't be mined from for a bit, and Cass is going to force a pull from the main as well. This is nice. This is going to take a long time to deal with. And slow down our Protoss player who's now he's not mining from the space.
Yeah, those poor probes clearly taking their union-mandated smoke break here by the natural. Going to take a little while to get down there. Luckily, the last of the Widow Mines, or the third Widow Mine, going to get cleaned up here. The fourth one actually chased away in the Medevac still. That Medevac is going to escape with one more. The Widow Mine is the third, not getting much done either. Nice pulls by Cass all around, but that has cleared the way. DNS now knows what the composition of Cass's army looks like. Those Widow Mines have actually scouted. And Cass is now pushing into the third base. This actually could be pretty dangerous. There are no shield batteries here, Grant.
Yeah, the Raven is nice. In terms of Ghost, there's only one on the field right now, and there are like so many Zealots. Do we have enhanced shockwaves? No, we don't. So I'm not too concerned here as the second Colossus joins the fray. It's now DNS that's going to move in. These drops DNS has been going for have actually been very good at keeping Cass relatively pulled back. This Widow Mine is probably the only thing stopping DNS marching across the map right now. 7 workers do go down for DNS. Pretty, oh, okay, no, 10 workers now going down for DNS. That's more problematic. Blink has already been used, so this medevac will get away for now. Going to be chased down after burner, should be off cooldown though, and everything looking pretty good. Cass's army is strong. Disruptors coming in though. Once again, DNS not seeming to be a big fan of Storm, which I find surprising. Some Terran players still going for it. Some Pro Tour players even still going for it. Terrans generally don't go Storm. But it is going to be Purification Novas and Disruptors coming out here from DNS to try and find that big AoE damage.
And we're looking for a swing, aren't we, Grant? And of course, Disruptor's the biggest, swingiest unit in the game, obviously. A good Disruptor shot could end this man's whole career. The army supply is getting close to even here as Cass makes his way across the map. The upgrades even as well. 2-2 about to finish for Cass, but +2 also on the way here for DNS, who's actually let his upgrades slip a little bit. He's got those 2 forges, and he had them very early. He definitely should have gone a little bit earlier with those forges. He tries to snipe the Raven, but doesn't quite get it. And these Marauders are going to find themselves a nice choke point. Good EMP on those Zealots, and as you said earlier, Grant, Zealots such an important unit, the EMP. The Disruptor's able to drive Cass back, though, and they're going to buy DNS just a little bit of time. Looks like he's going to recuperate. No Warp Prism right now for DNS, so he can't reinforce from the front lines.
Yeah, I'm surprised he does need to get a Prism going pretty soon. Colossus are nice, but they certainly do need support of Zealots. And as Zealots die, oh, okay, not bad. Big Dorito cannon going on. A couple of Purification Novas should manage to stop the army from getting too much here. Okay, some of the Disruptors going down here. This is starting to get a bit scary for DNS. Cass is storming forward in a literal sense with a huge amount of units. One Colossus will fall. There's only one standing now, but the bio is starting to get a little small. And with Zealots coming in to reinforce, and that one Colossus with Super Battery, does look like this is going to be okay. Lots of Stalkers coming in to take down the Vikings. Not sure Stalkers are the best warping choice here. Another huge Dorito cannon coming in here, but Cass is going to be able to get pushed back. A nice Purification Nova. DNS is doing what he needs to do right now. Zealots coming in, more Disruptors coming in. It's hard to tell what's been cannoned and what hasn't because these Disruptors are so bloody orange.
Yes, it can be. An interesting trade-off there. If we take a look at the Army Supply tab, we'll see it looks like a relatively even trade there for both players. Cass slightly ahead on Army Supply at the end of it, but the Army Value tab is going to show us a little bit more. Even though Cass has a higher Army Value and his upgrades are superior, I still think DNS has a pretty decent composition there. He only lost a handful of Disruptors. It looks like 2 Disruptors going down, and he still has 5 remaining, and 5 Disruptors are much scarier than 2. So I love Cass's choice here. He realized he didn't get quite as much damage done as he wanted to, didn't break the 3rd base, didn't break the 4th base, didn't clear out all those key Disruptors, and so he's going up to 3-3 and setting up for a drop. This is, of course, going to get spotted immediately by the very well-placed Scouting Zealot from DNS, and he should be ready to rotate around and deal with this. Immediately, the army heads south. Yeah,
DNS has done a good job of securing his 4th base on Submarine, which is the hardest thing to do. Keeping track of the army with a couple of spotter units as well. We do have this drop cliff, also very useful here. We're going to see a drop behind the mineral line, I imagine, with all of these workers. It's quite hard to get an army back here to deal with this because it is, you do have to not only walk for a choke, but also the units are very protected by the terrain. Stalker's going to blink forward. We should have a couple of Purification Novas to clean this up. Don't kill your own units. There we go.
Nice.
Pushes this back, losing only 4 workers. DNS is doing well at getting closer to max supply, but his upgrades lacking. Cass's 3-3 is pretty well timed. Don't get me wrong, it's still kinda late, but 3-3 is on the way before +3/+2 even started here for DNS.
Yeah, Cass missed a bit of a trick there, not attacking in both locations at the same time. You know, usually if you're playing this bio style, one of the huge benefits of playing a bio style is that you can attack in multiple places at once, right? Pressure the natural, pressure the 4th at the same time, drop here, drop there, stim here, stim there, force this Protoss player to go back and forth and back, and now finally, Cass is realizing, oh, if I can attack with both at the same time, it looks like we may actually get something done here. Marauders now into the natural, and this poor natural might just go down before the cavalry arrives over the hill here, Grant. I'm a bit concerned about the timing of these Stalkers and Zealots.
Yeah, 3 Marauders do look like they may just about save versus the army is going to start fighting the army instead of concentrating on that base. 6 workers going down again for DNS, but he has got a good worker count still. And neither player have really ever got into like the 80s in this game. It is difficult on Submarine. We do have a bit of constellation going down in the middle. Actually, a flank coming in right now from Cass. He's going to be able to catch a lot of this army. Force a recall here from DNS, who does get out with most of his key units, losing just a disruptor or two. But now the army pulled together. Army supplies very, very even. Both players getting closer to match. Cass probably making better moves in the last 3 or 4 minutes of this game. But DNS is getting towards a death brawl that could be difficult for Cass to stop without Liberators, which he hasn't ever moved into in this game. He's only got 2 Vikings as well.
Yeah, interesting choices there. I think maybe he killed off those earlier, he knows he killed off those earlier Colossi, and he was like, oh, well, the Colossi are dead. I don't need some Vikings, so I should be fine. But of course, the Colossi are back, and they still do a crazy amount of damage here with that ETL finished up. Even though they're only +2 and only +2 armor, finally just now coming down from DNS. He's forgotten he has a second forge somewhere. It hasn't been spinning the entire game.
Did he lose it?
Did he lose it? No, it's down. Oh, he just rebuilt it. Yeah, he must have lost it earlier. Really interesting choices there. Anyway, going for the +2 and now +3 on the way. Koss does have a wide window of opportunity, though, Grant, as you said, on the 3-3. He's finally adding more Vikings in, adjusting this composition, and this is what we talked about before, Grant. This game is not going to be won off the back of 1 or 2 engagements. It's going to be won off the back of who can rotate their tech appropriately, who can rebalance their army appropriately.
Yeah, Koss certainly having the edge right now. I will say it is clear watching this game the difference between the top level of players in these groups and maybe the lower. Both players are very passive. We see a few drops here and then, a couple of run bys, but nothing like you see if you were watching, Showtime versus Clem. It's a slower style of the game coming in. Blink forward here. DNS actually chooses to be very aggressive. The Ghosts are in the front, or they do run slowly. Some big EMPs here. Cut the army running on the corner, but the Colossus completely unmatched in the air as the Vikings have all gone down. Cass is trying to remake them. His drop is doing a lot of damage, but I'm concerned at what cost, because his army is being chased down and has the possibility of going down. He's going to lose a lot of workers himself.
Yeah, disruptors are a great thing to have when you're pushing into a planetary fortress. Obviously, they can get on top of all those repairing SCVs pretty easily and destructinate the worker count there. But Cass actually going to push him away here. DNS disengaging Grant. I'm not sure if that's the right call. He must know that he's under duress back home. Finally, warp in available, but his main nexus is going to go down before the recall happens. Grant, that's so clutch. Target firing by Cass there. Overstimming his units just a little bit to make sure that recall does not happen. Is that the death blow for DNS?
DNS's army is still exceptionally scary here for Cass. The Cass is starting to get a fair few units on the field. If he can get this upgrade, which will be cancelled with 11.5 seconds, the Colossus as well has to be cancelled here. DNS doesn't have any workers really at half the worker count of his opponent. And Cass now moving in, looking to try and take it to the ace match in this series. DNS is barely mining right now, 1,200 minerals per minute to the 2,500 here from Cass. And Cass starting to pull ahead quite massively. All of his drops finally taking. As he speeds up the tempo, he picks up a bit of a lead.
Yeah, great engagements there from Cass. Earlier I criticized Cass for not doing double-pronged harass, and I think this is exactly why. Wow, depowering again, 4 more gateways from DNS, just making it harder and harder for DNS to spend his money. But I criticized him earlier for not doing that, the dual-pronged harass in this game, finally making it work a little bit better. Grant able to get this dual-pronged harass figured out and really striking at the heart of DNS. DNS is slow-moving army, not able to take care of it. These poor probes on break, trying to evacuate, avoiding these marauders on the top side, but they're going to get hit with the main army down below. DNS setting up for a bit of a flank, but there's nothing on the north side to flank. This is just his main army coming in from a weird angle.
If Cass had Liberators right now, this would be over. But he doesn't. He has killed like all of the production facilities right now. DNS has got so much money and cannot make any units. Cass just needs to dodge his purification novas and not with his face. But if he can start to take out some of these important units, if the Colossi fall, if the Disruptors fall, there's nothing less for DNS. 81 army supply is what he's got. He cannot make any more at any point. Does he even have... No, he has no Robo. He just has 4 gates. He has no Robo, no Robotics Bay. So he can make Archons. Does he even have a... Cybercon? No, he can make Zealots, Archons, and High Templar. That's it.
Charge Lot Archon's not bad.
it's not great against Ghost.
You're right. Those Ghost EMPs doing a wonderful job against Archons and everything. Difficult position for DNS, but the key, of course, are those 6 disruptors. As we saw earlier, those disruptors can really cause huge spikes, and there's a reason DNS hasn't tapped out yet. And it's not because he's being BM. He knows he should lose.
No.
Because big disruptor shots like that could make a difference. The bad news is this is just too good of a concave. Even 3 or 4 great disruptor shots, not enough. GG. Cass is going to take this series to game number 3. Grant, the longest game on Submarine you've ever seen. We passed the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. We did say both of these players very macro-orientated. God damn it, we were right, Creighton.
It's almost like we know what we're doing, Grant. Almost.
Maybe. I fake it.
Yeah, that's true. At least one of us knows what we're doing. Game 3 going to be on Romanticide LE. And Grant, if you wanted macro games, baby doll, this is the map for it. This and Juggernaut are definitely the 2 most macro maps in the pool right now, where players are going to feel the strongest. They're big, wide maps, able to hide things, able to get forced good engagements, and DNS and Cass should just have a ball on Romanticide. Yeah. They should have a ton of fun.
Yeah, definitely. These players really do like to take it late, and we're going to see more of that. I criticized Cass a little bit in that game, but when he picked up the tempo, he made it happen there. I do think Liberators would have closed that game out a couple of minutes earlier, but now it is up to DNS, probably to slow Cass down a little bit, or at least get up to his late game tech while Cass is still trying to switch.
Sure.
So if the Terran can match the Terran in tech, the Protoss in tech, as long as they're positioning well, they are going to get great concaves. They're going to have air control. Colossus aren't going to get too much done, and DNS is now going to have to make it happen here on Romanticide, a map 3. Glad to see it. And this is, again, this map now, this is the best of 1 for $125, as both these players have been eliminated.
Yep.
And we're already loading in.
Man, what a good series. These players making each other work for that money, for sure. You know, some of these matches, I'm like, wow, that was $125. That was 10 minutes of work. Not bad. DNS and Cass making their opponents reach for the stars to try and grab that cash and get out fast. Spawning in the top left-hand side of Romanticide LE, it's our red French Pro Tour player from Cascade Gaming. His name is Adrien Bouet, and he goes by DNS.
And of course, his opponent in the southeast side of Romanticide, representing Starcom Gaming, he is the blue Terran player from Ukraine. It's Papa Cass.
Beautifully done. I mean, this is the game where DNS needs to cannon rush. I'm just saying.
No,
just out of nowhere, he's like, you know what? He thinks he knows me. He thinks he knows me. Cannons. Obviously not going to happen as that gateway goes down first and foremost for DNS. Very standard builds. No surprises there, Grant. We're going to have a good solid 3-4 minutes before anything happens in this game. So, how's your weekend? How's your weekend looking, Grant? What are you up to?
This. This and sleeping. Still not feeling particularly great, as I was pretty unwell in the week. Still, yeah. Getting a little bit better, you know, making sure everything's good, enjoying some StarCraft. This is our final day together, Creighton, as tomorrow we split into 4 streams, and I imagine you'll be joined by Steadfast and me by Pengy for one final time before we wrap for this event. So a little bit sad, you know. Always love working with my boy, but DNS,
of course,
is going very aggressive. This is proxy Stargate region. Not only that, this is proxy Void Ray, as you can get a lot of batteries down here and pressure the main production. We'll see if that's going to be the case, where it's just going to be a very, very quick Oracle.
Yeah, you got a couple options here. Obviously, Stargate, the most common. I've seen a forward gate from this location as well on Romanticide. A little more rare. Usually, if you go to gate, it's a little bit further back because you don't need to be quite as close. But you're absolutely correct, Grant. This Reaper not going to spot this. Oh my god, he's going to spot it. Oh my god, he's going to spot it. Immediate spot by the Reaper there, and that's clutch. DNS, does he cancel this Stargate, Grant, and try again back home?
I'm not sure. DNS should have a unit coming across. He does. He has a Zealot to defend this, and that is going to help. The workers have all been pulled. One Marine as well. One Zealot just doesn't deal with this. This is really, really bad for DNS. Like, hugely, he's probably going to lose $125. He does have another pylon going down here. Another 2 pylons. That's going to be nice. The Zealot is up in the main. That's going to cause a lot of consternation here as well. This Zealot could be the thing keeping DNS in this right now, stopping production from a lot of these buildings, gonna kill a few workers, force a pull here DnS is not... Oh, no, he's not whole commanding. This Zealot's getting taken down without swiping at all. Finally, it swipes. It gets 1 kill when it could have had 3 or 4. This is bad right now. The pylon is up. And Adept has come as well. Void Ray on the way, but there is no probe. Is there one on the way? Yes, there is. That is going to save this for now. Workers going down, though. DnS doing a good job of killing workers, despite the fact that his worker killing building is not doing anything.
Man, this is so weird. This is such a weird start for DnS. Both these players desperately fighting over this nonsense piece of land out in the middle of nowhere. I feel like I'm in the middle of 1984, where the players are like, no, it's always been our turf. The other pylon goes down here. Forward pylon going down as well for those reinforcements. The Void Ray on its way. The Marines and Marines and Reaper on the high ground, but they're not going to be able to pick this down, I don't think, in time. Widowmine doesn't get anything done, but the Adepts should be taken out of the main here. They're going to be kept out of the main, rather, and won't be able to make it in. Yeah,
this base, one Void Ray will get out, but you really don't want to be losing to Stargate. It's an expensive building, and yeah, it's going to throw down a huge amount of batteries. So, okay, Cass has been watching Euthermal's tutorial because he is immediately getting Macfield accelerators and moving into Cyclones. One Void Ray comes out. It doesn't have battery support yet, which means it cannot commit to the fight.
Yep.
This Stargate is going down. We can already see another one being produced here. As batteries finish, that is where the power spike hits here for DnS. But right now, just one Void Ray is not enough. Oh my god, no Adepts got into the main.
Yeah, they took down that one. They put down the supply depot at the very front of the base there. They actually took it down completely.
Wow.
One more SCV goes down as well. The good news is Cass is on 2 bases. The bad news for Cass is that DnS has just started his 2nd base behind this. And since these shield batteries are finished up, this Stargate will finish up. We're going to see another Void Ray out here, Grant. This is about the sloppiest Void Ray harass I've ever seen in my life. And I'm amazed that DnS is committing this hard to it.
It cancels. He cancels. He knows it's not going to work. This is really bad for DnS. His tech isn't. He has no tech. 5 minutes into the game. Twilight Council is going to go down for the transition. He has a Void Ray, but unfortunately, 2 Magfield accelerators. Cyclones are the counter. These Adepts, if they could get in, would be great. There is nothing to defend the mineral line here, or even take down these buildings. We see double racks coming down here from Cass, who will move into Bio off the back of this, but with Magfield accelerators, Cyclones, and Bio, he's going to be in a very good position. These spells do a lot of damage. They're going to drain the energy quickly. The Void Ray goes down. This is so bad right now for DnS.
That Void Ray was the only thing keeping him alive, man. What are you going to do? Get the Adepts into the main base and hope you murder everything? There's even a Reaper on the other side pecking down slowly at this Nexus just to be especially annoying. The shield battery's going down, and once we take a look at the resources lost tab, I can tell you, Grant, it's going to be real hideous for DnS. Almost 2,000 resources going down, and that's with these shield batteries and a pylon still awake. Cass on 18 army supply, and there's nothing back home, Grant. I mean, Stalker and 2 sentries? You gonna defend with 2 little cotton candy boys and 1 Stalker? Come on, it's not gonna happen. Even with these 3 Marines picking down the pylon, I feel like these Cyclones and Viking are just gonna be enough to practically end this thing, even with the shield battery almost finished up.
4 shields keeping Cass in. Now, one of the Cyclones even does go down quickly. This Viking's going to head into the main and land and look for damage. Lock-on ability is being used there on the hallucination, meaning that it is on cooldown. Cass needs to be careful. He really doesn't want to be losing these units quickly, but again, we can see he's picking them off one by one, and now that Viking has landed in the main. Actually chasing down a Stalker, not perfect. That should have gone for workers. A decent defense from DnS. It is going DT, but it has been scouted by Cass.
Yep.
Cass, though, doesn't have anything to do with that yet. He doesn't have any missile turrets yet. Does he have an eBay?
Yeah, he's working on a missile turret now.
He's been working on a missile turret already. Cool.
Yeah, he's not going to get caught by the DTs here. Cass finds himself in a great position. And again, one of those very strange games, Grant, where if you look at just the ribbon up below and you're like, wait a minute, their worker count looks similar. Cass is a little bit ahead in army supply, but not enough to matter. Grant, what do we not see on the ribbon down below, the informational ribbon, that we know in-game puts Cass so far ahead?
I don't know. I don't know what you're hinting at here.
Oh, no, I didn't have a specific answer in mind. I was just asking you. We're both saying, you agree with me that Cass is way ahead in this game, right?
Yeah, Cass is way ahead. So Cass's tech is better. It is more advanced. He has everything he needs. Right now, he's already moving into Marine Marauder tank production. His upgrades are great. We see the first forge now going down for our Protoss player. Cass is already halfway through 1 just +1. He has Stim, he has Combat Shield, meaning that even this drop is going to be able to do huge damage in the main. Cass is massively ahead. He actually hasn't even been seen by DNS, I believe. No, DNS does not know this is here. He doesn't have any warpins. His units are at the other side of the map. Finally, he sees this and does drop a recall. But this is really, really bad right now. One DT is going to be able to swipe away at the Cyclones. Scam will go down, and that guy, unfortunately, will follow. 6 workers going down. That's such a huge amount of the economy. Oh, but if it's full made of it, okay, that's good. That's what DNS needs. He is still behind, though, in terms of money. Really, really needs to get his income going. It needs to cut corners because the second push is already on the way.
Yeah, these Cyclones are the real scary part of this push. As you said, not affected by the upgrades at all, but still just terrifying to just so scary. Of course, the once the Cyclones lock on with Magfield Accelerator, they outrange Stalkers, and of course their speed is pretty dang good too. So the Stalkers can just get shelled down by Cyclone all day long, and they really can't do anything about it because Blink is there, but it's not going to be able to be used like quite as aggressively since there are 3 Cyclones out. And very wisely here, DNS using those lock-ons on different Zealots, making sure there's no Zealots up front means that there's nothing to separate these Stalkers from the Bioforces back here. The tank sieging up, and as soon as this tank is up, I don't think it matters how good your force fields are. This is just way too much DPS from our Terran boy.
Yeah, this base will certainly fall. It was a greedy attempt here by DNS to go for a much quicker third, despite the start of the game. It hasn't worked out. Maybe, just maybe, DNS can hold as the tank is... actually, you need to target down the base right now, Cass. Okay, the base will go down here. Finally, that's a big pickup here, because Cass's third is about done as well. Will turn into an orbital and take over. So Cass again is going to only pull further ahead, and now he has a big drop queued up. It's going to hit the natural and the main most likely simultaneously. Ooh. Cass has control of this game. If these medevacs get caught and go down, we'll be looking at a much more even game here. Oh my god, Cass. Oh my god, Cass. This is so bad.
Oh, come on, Cass. Man, you remember when he had a 2-to-1 army advantage like 30 seconds ago? Gone now. The good news for Cass is he's still pumping out a lot of bio, and with bio, you're never like that. It's never that dire of a situation because there are just constantly Marines and Marauders flooding out of your main base. But he does realize what a stressful situation he's in. He's got Widow Mines down here. They're going to lock on. Nice blinks, though, from DNS. Able to pick out one, and maybe second Widow Mine goes down there. Very nicely done. Of course, 2 more Widow Mines behind this, and the aggression here is going to allow this bunker to finish. If the bunker finishes up, these Marauders are going to be just fine. Great Widow Mine shots onto the Zealots, and that alone is going to clear DNS out. Those 2 Widow Mines in the back, the absolute heroes of this fight.
Yeah, more Widow Mines coming in right now. If they can get a big connection on some of these Zealots, it's just going to look bad for DNS, whose third base has only now gone down again. I think it got dropped and cancelled once again. I mean, in terms of income, we can see right now it is massively in favor of Cass. It's only going to get bigger because he has just landed a base, and I guarantee you there's some fresh mules waiting to get dropped on that base pretty soon. He's not going to do it now just to taunt me. He has loads of energy.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yes, please. I guess he's a little bit worried about DT, so save some energy.
I guess.
He can. But that base now starting to mine, you can see his income is about 25% better. He's dropping like a madman. Here comes the DT. This DT is, it's going to die, Graham.
It is going to die, Grant, and gruesomely so. Concussive Shell slowing it down here. A scan to make sure it doesn't get away. Nicely played there by Cass. Now, another drop getting caught here by this bottom pylon. So DNS being pretty good about these cheeky pylon drop or cheeky drop attempts from Cass, but I think he's doing all right. I think he's doing all right here. The drop again gets caught here. Will get sniped down, but a medevac for 2 Stalkers here. 3 Stalkers here, maybe 4 Stalkers. Yeah.
Wow.